Alright, so I have a PS4 controller here that we're going to take apart today. It's also called a DualShock 4. So there's 4 screws around the back, just your normal Phillips head screws. So I'm going to take apart each one of those. They're all the same size, so I'm just going to set them aside. And then I found that if you kind of pinch each of the little handles, it kind of will separate the back from the front of the controller, and you can kind of wedge your little pry tool in between. And there's a series of latches around the outside that are stuck really tightly, holding the top to the bottom of the controller. So if you find each little clasp and clip it, it'll pop out, and you can see that the back of the controller right here is coming loose from the buttons. If you watch at the very end of the video how I put it back together, it'll make a lot more sense how it comes apart. You see the button came loose right there. I can just click it back into place, so it's pretty simple. Right here you can see the battery as well as the white ribbon cable which goes to the charging port. So I'm just going to pull that away from the little connector on the motherboard. And now I'm going to show you how to replace the charging port. If you don't need this step and you just want to go to the battery replacement, you can skip ahead to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 screws right here that you're going to undo. They're just your normal Phillips head. And then you can start moving the little pieces of plastic. And this is all for the light that is on the controller for the how it communicates with the camera and the the PlayStation. Get all little plastic out of the way, and there's 2 little Phillips head screw heads down at the bottom that I'm going to undo. And then the charging port itself just comes loose from the controller. Usually these parts aren't very expensive at all, so if yours breaks, if you need the part, and I haven't listed it in the video description below yet, just shoot me a comment and I'll find one for you. Getting it all put back together, getting those 2 Phillips head screws back into place. Tightening them in, and then the glass has its own little pins that it kind of sits on top of, so everything goes back in its own little groove. The controller was made pretty sturdily. And then you have the top 2 Phillips head screws as well. So here's the battery. The interesting thing about the battery is 3.65 volts and 1000 milliamp hours. It's a lithium ion. I think that this battery feels really light, and that you can get another battery that would be about the same size that, doubles the milliamp hours in it. So I think it's switchable. Anyway, so here's the 2 vibrators and the handles of the controllers. One is bigger than the other. I thought that was interesting as well, to kind of give you kind of dual vibrations. And then to take out the main board inside the controller, you have the 1 screw that holds it into place. And as you're separating the main board from the top half of the controller, there's a few little buttons that might fall out. There's not very many. It's mostly just a share button at the top along with the other button. You can see that mine came loose. All you got to do is just grab your little button and pop it back into place. It's not too big of a deal. And so all these buttons, they are swappable as well, so you can just pop those out and pop new ones in. And then here's the main board. Nothing on this is really swappable. All the like the vibrators and everything else is soldered onto the main board, so there's nothing really that you can change out on this section of the controller. And then this is a little touchpad up at the top, and it comes loose, and you can see the little white ribbon cable that goes into the main board. Just clip that back into place. And then back to the main board again. So this is the little speaker right here in the main section. So if your speaker goes out, you can swap that out. And you can see on the main board these little connectors right here is how it gets its communication. It just rests against those little gold connectors, and it tells it what to play. Kind of fun. Anyway, get that positioned back into place again, back on the main board. And then set it directly on top of the plastic. I keep it face down just so I don't have to deal with all the buttons coming loose and falling out. and then make sure everything finds its correct groove. Get that little ribbon cable back into place that you took out before. Just press it in. There's a little latch that you have to clip down. And then get the back plastic with the little battery compartment. And I think, if you do find a different size battery, one that lasts longer, you can modify that compartment just a little bit, shave away a little bit of the plastic. It looks like the battery, there's room around the battery as well. Anyway, here's the charging port ribbon. You can kind of see me getting that into place, just making sure, just do it super gently, not to bend the cable at all, not to scrape off the little gold connectors on it. Just push it straight in. Then it holds itself. There's no latches or anything on this connector. And then this little guy fell out. This is for the reset button on the controller. It's just like a little rubber thing that just goes in it. So if that popped out, just kind of slip it down in the groove in the plastic where it goes. Took me a second to figure out where that one came from. Anyway, so you see this is how the back goes on. It just latches on between the left and the right, the triggers. And then once the back is clasped on, the rest of it just kind of falls into place. And you can kind of see it just kind of snapping in. And you can hear all the little latches clicking shut as you close it. Anyway, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like if this video helped you. Don't forget to subscribe. I put up videos fairly often. You can see my full PlayStation 4 teardown as well, and a few of my other videos. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope to see you around.